No pressure. No pressure. Oh my.
Awesome. Hello, everyone. We have the privilege to be He is a senior computer scientist at Moderna and creator and student of the famed Lambda. We will be talking to us today about practical and thoughtful patterns.
Cool stuff. Thanks a lot. All right. Hi, everybody. How many of you use agents in your coding? That's great. It's great. That's what I expected. How many feel really good about your patterns? I love the confidence that Sebastian has. All right. This talk was born out of seeing how some of my colleagues, some of my friends, how they do AI-assisted coding, and observing some of the really awesome stuff they do and some of the frustrating stuff they do. And what I came to realize is a lot of good patterns are easily shown, but not easily taught in a talk, which then motivates point number one. This is going to be a live coded talk, so wish me luck. I think it's better and more important to show some of these ideas, ways that you can use coding agents in a productive fashion so that you can get work done faster without sacrificing quality while still remaining in control. You do not have to do a 3-choose-2 on those three things, all right? So some of the ground rules for today's talk. Please feel free to interrupt me whenever the agent is cooking, but if I'm explaining stuff, please don't interrupt me so that I don't lose my train of thought. The only exception to that rule is if you see the coding agent that's going to be up on the screen finished it and I'm still blabbering, I want you to just like wave your hand or like point to the screen to remind me that I shouldn't monologue for too long. And then the final thing is, in an ideal situation, I would be doing this over like the thing that I'm about to do is about, I would ideally do it in like a 1 to 2 hour session for myself. But because this is a 40-minute talk, I'm going to make some snap judgments that will make it look like I'm vibe coding. But please trust me, I don't do that. I don't vibe code, firstly. And secondly, I don't recommend that you vibe code either. Please look at your code, the code that is generated. Please make sure that you know how your code works. So do what I say, just don't do what I do today, okay? So how many of you attended the tutorial on Monday that I led, which was about LlamaBot and the likes? Great, thank you. Appreciate your presence there. Some of you helped out, so again, thank you so much as well for helping with the setup instructions. One of the things that I did inside there was I actually had to give everybody access to large language models, I deployed a thing called Ollama on model. And if you look for this repo, Ollama on model, on GitHub, you'll find it. It's there. And it has some pretty simple instructions that with a modal account and with a Pixie package manager, you can very quickly deploy Ollama on model for yourself so that you can run maybe models that are larger than the RAM that is available to you on your machine. Okay. But I did something kind of stupid in that tutorial. It's because I was really enamored by some of the 120B, 70B, 120B parameter models. And so I set inside here, I set the default GPU to be an H100. And that means when everybody was running Llama 3.1, 3B, you were running a 3 billion parameter model on my account where I was inviting everybody to drain my modal credits, and you were running on a H100, which is way overkill, right? So my attempt today is I'm going to try to upgrade the Ollama on model endpoint to be a router that allows me to route between smaller models to smaller GPUs and larger models to larger GPUs. That's it. Okay? So we're going to try that live today. Are you all ready? Okay. Here we go. 30 minutes, intentionally planned so we have some time left for Q&A. We'll see how far we get. So let's come to Cursor. The first thing that I want to do is I actually want to showcase one point, that you want to always be planning with your coding agent, and it's become very established as a good idea to do. One thing you may not know is that one same pattern that I have started doing is I've actually started putting the plan, like I've started iterating on plans until the point that I'm comfortable with it, and then I post it to GitHub issues so I don't have to clutter my repository with markdown files full of my plans that I want to work on. So in other words, the issue tracker of GitHub, or if you're using Jira and Bitbucket, if you use whichever your system is, if you can iterate with your LLM and put those plans somewhere, that's a really good idea. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to take the URL, github.com, blah, 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 and I'm going to ask the coding agent, please pull down this and read it. This is our plan for today. I don't want any code written just yet. We are going to iterate on it. And I'm going to switch over first to plan mode. In Cursor, it's the orange icons that the icons turn orange if you are doing plan mode. I'm going to hit enter. So right here, there's a few things that I just wanted to highlight as patterns that are immediately going to show up. First off, because your coding agent has access to the shell, you should be able to take advantage of execution of command line tools to get the coding agent to do a lot of stuff. Notice I'm too lazy to even copy and paste the issue from GitHub into the coding agent window. I would just rather type a few words to get it to pull the plan down. Okay, we're in plan mode. And when I created the plan yesterday afternoon, obviously I wasn't like 100% sure of what I wanted. So that's why today I actually want to put a lot of focus on iterating on the plan. So one thing that's really cool is some of the coding agent models will start by asking you and prompting you for additional questions, right? And so let's walk through this. How should the model to GPU mapping work? Should it support exact matches, pattern matching? My sense of taste is telling me that we should do exact model name matches only at first, and then we can generalize later. So I'm going to select A. And then what should happen if a model is not found in the mapping? Should it default to a specific GPU? And this is me thinking about it from a user-facing perspective, perhaps. If they pull in a model that's not on the list, but actually something I know about the behavior of this endpoint is, if the model isn't even fundamentally pulled down, it should not, I should get an error on the endpoint side. So actually, returning an error and failing fast is the better thing to do. And it's also the more Pythonic thing to do anyways. You should fail fast on your code rather than silently hide errors around. So I'm going to pick C. And then, should both GPU services share the same volume for model storage or use separate volumes? This one I'm very confident in the answer. It's going to be a shared volume. And how should the router be implemented? Should it be a separate modal class or integrated differently? Well, to help everybody onboard onto context, I'm going to go through that. I'm going to look, and I need to onboard onto context myself again. I'm going to look through the code one more time. So the code itself, I'm going to come back here. Let's look at that. There's no outline. Okay, never mind. Let's hide that then. So we have the modal deployment code. It's all here. I have one volume. I have a wait for Olama timeout thing just as a safety net, and then I have app.class Olama service, and then it's got its own context manager thing going on over here. The configuration is at the top, where I have the volumes mapped onto a path. I have the GPU. I have a scale down window, and I have a timeout. So let me just think here. Should the router be implemented as a separate modal class or integrated differently? I am going to go for option A because I would like the router to be its own thing, and I'd like it to be a pass-through such that it then spins up separate containers on the side, and then it comes back when the returns, when the what do you call it? When the separate containers return their responses, I pass through the response back to the user again. So I'm going to try that. I don't know whether this will work. I actually haven't rehearsed this. Okay, so let's try. I hit OK on all of those, and cursor is not doing anything. Oh, okay, great. It's got a few more questions. While it's cooking, any questions from the crowd so far?
A quick one. I missed how these questions are being asked in the first place.
Okay, so the question here is, how are these questions actually being asked in the first place? It is part of the way that the cursor agent harness is designed. So if you have a plan that you pulled in and you're designing a plan with the agent help, it is prompted and steered through, my guess is through a system prompt to say, look through the plan as is and come up with a few more questions that are clarifying that will help with the implementation. And then that automatically happens. Okay, so we have this over here. What should we use for HTTP proxying? Ooh, this is running a little bit out of my wheelhouse. I could skip, but I see the help from AI saying HTTPX is already in the dependencies. So to minimize dependency bloat, I'm going to go with A. Oopsies, let's just click on A. How should we handle ports? For different GPU services, each service needs its own web server port. I know that Ollama defaults to port 11434, and I am not sure what the behavior will look like if I start messing around with the ports internally. So I'm going to try modal internal networking just to minimize the number of moving parts that I have to deal with. And then which Ollama API endpoints should the router handle? A is the one that I want because I want it to be just a complete pass-through. It's a simpler design that I don't have to worry about. Let's click continue. Okay, more questions while it's cooking. Yes? So the question is, does it ever happen that I have so many instructions that it forgets what it's supposed to do? And the answer is yes. So it actually helps for the human to do a bit of thinking and planning up front to isolate what exactly you want to work on. What I didn't show today is that prior to this live demo, I've actually already created the automated testing harness for this repository, also with AI assistance, such that I have a test environment on modal. I have a test script that will test that the models are actually running correctly on modal. And I haven't yet automated, of course, checking that I have split GPUs because to preserve enough content for the demo, I didn't implement that yesterday. So we're going to have to walk through that. But if I had smushed those two tasks together, this would be a pretty gigantic task. Whereas from a software development perspective, it kind of makes sense to have a breakdown. Thank you. Sebastian's telling me it makes sense to have a breakdown here. Okay, cool. So we have the plan. Let's open up the plan. All right, how are we doing for time? We are at 21 minutes left. Okay, so this is the plan. We will transform the single Ollama service into two different services. We'll route based on model name, configuration selection, model GPU mapping. It's a dictionary. I like that. Split current services into two classes. Okay, I can deal with that. Let's do Ollama router class. Okay, good. That's the main entry point. I like that it has the default port for Ollama. Request parsing logic, etc. We'll see how it works. Anytime you insert a new layer in between, that's just another moving part. So this is the part that's actually making me the most nervous. The router class. We'll have to see how that works. Request proxying. Get the internal modal URL for the GPU service. That I know to be true. Use HTTPX to forward the request, preserving headers, body, and method. Okay. For how many? I have a quick question for everybody. For how many of you is like this? Everything that's being written here sounding like Greek. Same here. I'm not a web person either. most of what I know about the web comes from failing on the web, like doing things like these live for everybody, and also at work. So I kind of know what headers, body, and method are, but I don't know what they're going to look like. And that's one part that mentally I'm keeping note of, because one, I need to learn this. Two, I need to pay closer attention to it, right? One of the patterns that is actually running through my head right now is that as I am reading this plan, I'm also imagining, what is that code going to look like? If you know what the code is going to look like, that's great. But if you don't know what the code is going to look like, there's a little trick for that. I am having trouble visualizing what the code for, let's be very specific with AI, H100, A10G, and router services will look like. Can you help me add that to the plan? This has two effects. One, I can pre-vet my understanding against what is generated in the code. And two, when the agent decides to, when I command the agent, when I hit the build button, that vetted code now becomes part of the prompt that steers the agent in the direction that I want. And so this now is a way for me to go and tell the agent, okay, I actually want this thing that you just wrote, and not some rando thing that you're probably going to generate on the fly that I need to review post-hop, right? So notice also I'm spending a lot of time on the plan. I haven't even really touched the code just yet, that's because you really want to iterate enough times on the plan first before you start looking at the code. Okay, so it's cooking. Any questions? Tell me.
Like,
I love this.
Really need a proxy. Like, it's just forwarding requests, right? Like,
how would you do it then?
I would just maybe ask the AI, like, can you simplify this design? Like, do we really need?
Okay, we'll do that. We'll do that. We'll do that. This is not in my plan, but we'll do that. Okay. I am feeling nervous about the plan. It feels overly complicated. Are there ways? Oopsies. Are there ways to simplify it? Can we reduce the number of classes, or do it without a proxy? Now, AI, we know, tends to be very agreeable. So if I start to go this way, it's probably going to agree with me. And that's not what I want in this situation while I'm exploring the problem space. So I have an extra magical prompt. If this is a bad idea, I want you to tell me so. Okay? We use AI as a critic as well. All right. Let's hit enter, see what it says. It's cooking. Any more questions? 17 minutes.
Auto modal choice, you chose auto.
Yes.
Is that intentional or is
I ran out of my cursor credits yesterday, so auto is free. No, but more seriously, then after that, I re-upped my account, so I'm now paying $60 a month to cursor. Auto tends to be okay, but I have my favorite set of models. I don't want the discussion to be about what model to choose, so I'm just using auto mode. My take on which model you should choose is really which model have you gotten used to, all right? Oh, let's get some audience participation. What specifically makes you nervous about the complexity?
I think the word router sent it down a path where it's really just kind of like a pass-through. You know what I mean? Like,
Okay.
you kind of need a simple object, so I don't know how to really tell it that. But
Well, let's do it verbatim. The router, I'm nervous about router when really all we need is pass-through. Okay, so that's the first one. That probably answers question 1. So I'm going to label this Q1, okay? And then second one, would you be open to approach where clients specify which GPU service to use directly? And for me, the answer is no, because I want this to be transparent. I don't want the user to know which endpoint to hit based on which GPU and which model and the like. So the Q2, no. Based on these answers, what are better paths forward? Do we keep the original plan or continue as is? Cool. All right, it's cooking. maybe. Sebastian.
Can I ask a more question?
Yes.
Since you are asking for two separate GPUs,
Yes.
what does that look like at the back end? Is that going to be two separate containers on separate instances?
That's correct.
Going to be one thing on the same machine?
No, it's the former. It's the former. And I have to specify whether I want an H100, H200, A10G, whichever, or like GPU list. And I have to specify the memory and CPU reservation that I want as well.
Because, okay, in that case, how would that work with the router on the same node? Because like once you spin up a container that has like a H100,
Yeah.
and the router lives there, how are you going to like route to the other thing?
Yeah, so what will happen is actually we'll spin up 3 containers. And the first container will be the router that will route to, pardon me?
But then you need a router.
Then therefore we do need a router. Great, okay.
I didn't know you were saying this.
Yeah, that's cool. No, this is the kind of discussion that we need. And one thing I noticed at work as well, you all should pay attention to this, because it's becoming it's becoming a pandemic. Sorry, I work at Moderna. People are getting more and more isolated when they're doing AI-assisted coding, and we're not having these discussions live, right? So I would really strongly encourage y'all, go back to your workplace. If you're doing AI-assisted coding, still please do pair coding, right? It really helps, okay? Okay, let's see. We've got the plan is still in creation, so AI is still cooking. Let's, Ben.
Yeah, I guess another kind of more related question, but like, do you feel like it's pretty up to date on like how it works? Have you found any issues with it being like the syntax not getting quite right? And how do you deal with that?
Yes, there is a special set of prompts that I use, which basically tell the AI, please search the web for modal documentation to understand what the right commands are or what the right syntax are. All right, and that is a common tool that I've had. Like for now, it is the case that I have to manually type it. But if you actually go into agents.md and you type here. Let me do one new agent for this one so I isolate the concerns. Within agents.md, I want you to put instructions that tell you to search the web for API and CLI documentation before calling if you this one's hard to formulate. I'm going to do the dumb thing first before writing any code or calling on any CLI, right? You would do a more refined version of this, right? Like this is not what I would actually recommend. I'd want to think more clearly about what situations in which I want AI to go search the web. But as a first pass, just ask it to write instructions for itself if it's going to use a CLI tool. Right now, it's under every circumstance, search the web first. It's a steering, so it's not always going to happen, but you probably will have that, right? Always search documentation first, search for latest API changes, search the web for CLI commands, verify best current practices and the likes, right? So that is a way of steering the AI for this. All right, how are we doing? We have 11 minutes left. All right, let's go back to the old plan. This one. We are here. Okay, so we do need a router. This seems to be the conclusion, and I'm comfortable with this conclusion. It's written, it's written the code. So Olama pass-through is over here, app.class there. Get the model name, get the service URL, web server on port 11,434. It's a fast API thing. It does absolutely any path. If it will handle streaming if necessary, and then it'll run. Okay, cool. One catch-all route, simple model abstraction, minimal error handling. All right, great. Just return the errors, don't overthink it. That's a good book by probably Overthinking It is a good book. Straightforward forwarding. All right, I like that. Request proxying logic, get GPU for model, okay, blah, blah, blah. Model, okay, cool, sounds good. Internal service URLs. It will have that, and then, okay, I'm gonna hit build. Let's see what happens. Yep. Oh, I see. Got it. Cool. All right, it's happening. And let me open the file browser so we can see. Actually, I'm going to open up the Git thing so we can see the live changes that show up. Endpoints.py. We've added fast API and Uvicorn. I'm comfortable with that. I like that. It's got these models. All right, first pass. I'm comfortable with this as well. I'm going to have to obviously refine these and do my own research. This is probably the only part that's going to be hand curated in terms of what I need. Get GPU for model, helper function. Cool, sounds good. And it does error handling for me. I like that. We now have the H100 service, and it's got its thing. And then we have the A10G service, which is using an A10G, and it is inheriting, like it's basically taking the old code that we've used. And then we have the pass-through. Okay, I'm going to pay a little bit more attention to the pass-through because I don't feel fully confident in what the pass-through looks like. So let me go back down to there, not the diff view, and let's study it a little bit more carefully. So it says it's got the H100 service, the A10G service, HTTPX client, and get service URL. All right. I guess these are attributes, but I'm not sure. So I'm just going to I'm going to put like some quick feedback. Is server.url a valid attribute? Search modal docs to verify, because I'm not sure what that is. And then it's got the web server implementation happening over here, so that's good. We looked through that just now, so I'm not going to look too carefully on it. Response, http.client, request, etc., etc., etc. Okay, cool. All right, I'm going to hit keep all over here. I think that's the only feedback that I have. And you'll notice it's doing a few things automatically as well. It's actually doing linting, code linting, and that's part of the system, part of agents.md that I'm just very nitpicky, and I don't want to deal with pre-commit hook, pre-commit linting errors on either Python files or even Markdown, so I have it like lint Markdown with Markdown lint and like fix all issues for me. Don't bother me with any of these things. I do not want to be bothered about it. It just does it for me. Okay, linting errors are finished. I'm going to pause real quick. Any questions? Back there. I'm not sure Modal has access to TPUs right now. So unfortunately, I think it won't be that straightforward to integrate TPUs. That's a great question.
Thank you.
Okay, cool. So quick feedback is that a valid attribute, search modal docs to verify. And then 2, please test the endpoints for me. This is now another pattern that I would like to really share with everybody. We finally got here. When you're coding with agents, if you let it do the drafting, but then you end up running commands manually to test the thing, that's not fun. You're not finding ways to automatically provide feedback to the coding agent. So it's very important that when you set up your repo, before you even get started, you want to have your testing harness ready. You want to have it ready to go such that you can like command AI, after you make any changes, please execute this set of tests. Now, this is for me a relatively weirdly structured project, so I don't have that exact command here, but I did create the test harness yesterday, and it is a script called test GPU routing, right? So what I can do is, and I do have additional documentation within the repo on how the AI can just run shell commands to do a manual deploy, and then also on the test environment, and also run this. So I'm just going to make it do this for me. You need to read the docs for how to do manual deploys, deploy to test end, and then execute test GPU routing.py. There we go. All right, it's cooking. Any questions?
So you asked it to search for docs, we rely on cursors, we to search things, or how much?
I ask, because I wrote the docs within the repo, I'm just relying on cursors built-in capabilities for searching. However, MCPs are a great way to expose documentation to other coding agents. And one pattern that I've tried before is to expose a RAG search tool to other coding agents. So then I take care of the retrieval of documents, and then it uses that as a response. Sebastian.
Your documentation or your docs folder looks a bit as if it's intended for the AI.
Yes. Yes.
How come you chose to make it a docs folder rather than making it cursor rules?
That's a good question, because I still want a human to pay attention to the fact that there are dots. Because if it's just this very subtle psychological shift, you see cursor rules, you're not going to pay attention too much to it. But if you see that it's docs, we're conditioned as coders to look at docs. So I do appreciate the comment. It's more for AI, but I still want a human looking at it, just in case AI goes off the rails. It's written for a human to intervene manually as well. Cool. Yes, one more.
Which is then like, if this is indeed intended for AI, and I mean it makes sense if you want humans to look at it, why not have a cursor rules that references also?
You could do that too, and I actually can just symlink if I wanted to, or so I could put one big doc and symlink to the cursor rules, or I could just write it as cursor rules first and then symlink the other way. Both, that's a bajillion ways to solve the same problem. It's still running, so yes, let's go. Ah, right. We talk a lot about test-driven development when you're in the software development world. You may not be used to it if you have more of a data science persona. It's more exploration-driven development. Because this has well-defined requirements, right, and the likes, I actually adopted test-driven development for this particular piece, where we write the test first, and then get the AI to execute the test. So I actually had prepared the test itself. So I'm actually going to pause for a moment. I want to see what's going on here, because I paid not as much attention as I should have to what the agent is doing. Let me just scroll back up. All right, cool. Prod is down now. Fixing URL, updating the code. That's correct. Okay, app got deployed. And then fixing URL access. Simplifying again. I think it might be running into a loop. Redeploying and running test script, running it again. Oh, this is exciting. What's happening? It's running this guy. Well, one way I can tell is if I go to the modal dashboard itself, and let me just look on the test environment. Something's happening, but it doesn't look like it's the right thing, because, pardon me? It says waiting for container. So one thing I did not do was find ways to get the logs. So let's see. Search modal. This is probably the final thing that I'll do for the demo, since we have 2 minutes left on my own timer. Search modal for docs on how to pull app logs from modal using the modal CLI. Then pull logs and explain why we are having issues with container startup. So, okay, so that is one thing that we'll probably have to do. And because that is being queued up, I'm going to hit enter one more time. I want to interrupt the operation, because I would really like to get to an answer on this one. This will probably be the last thing that I show and demo, given the time constraints. But hopefully, yeah. How much time do we have left?
You're ready for lunch. So, you've got 5 minutes left.
Okay. Okay. All right. So we got this going. All right. Not sure what's happening over here. It's got. Oh, okay. Actually, yes. It's showing the logs, and it's showing that it's running. It's just not. And is it running? Is it actually running? In the test environment, it should be running, but it's not. Okay. All right. Let's see. I see some stuff. I have a bunch of standard errors showing up. This is where I would definitely use modal to pull the logs and feed that in its context without doing copying and pasting. Okay, all right. I'm gonna stop the coding demo here. I'm gonna switch over to some final things. I actually, before starting, wrote out an entire list of things that I wanted to show. And I think we've gone through most of it. The detailed plan, highly recommended pattern. Test-driven development, highly recommended pattern. Oh, the timer's up, okay. Agents.md, really good pattern. Please take advantage of that. Keep it. I'm hearing in my headphones the chime from the alarm. It's not you all. Using CLI tools, getting the coding agent to use CLI tools to your advantage, extremely good pattern because you save on the context switching and copying and pasting. And then in the spirit of like things like of what Isabel had mentioned yesterday at the keynote, build your own tools, right? This I didn't get to show, but I have my own thing for like git commit message writing. I have shell aliases called GACP for git add dot and git commit and git push, right? All in one command, and so then it ties in with automatic git message writing. So then when I ever want to make a push, it's just GACP, right? Do that sort of stuff. And I did not get to show this, but it's a really great pattern. You can actually use an MCP server to vend out prompts that you use across multiple repositories and across multiple, shared with multiple people, that you can slash command and start to do things. One thing I didn't show, but was really helpful yesterday, was I had one for debugging GitHub CI deployment failures. And so I do slash GitHub, enter, paste in my workflow URL that is failing, and then it has this full prescriptive prompt on what to do with the GitHub CLI, how to reproduce the error locally, and then to make fixes and commit and push all in one shot. So I'm now one-shotting my CI failures. All right, thank you everybody. If you have further, hopefully this was an educational and informative way of a talk that would help you in the future as well. I will be blogging this on my blog, so if you go to my blog, it will come up by tomorrow, 7 a.m. on the blog. All right, thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Eric. We have time for a couple questions.
Right there.
Putting all this, you thought about all this once I'm creating the test artists. Give that to the agent and full context and say, needs specifications, or is this kind of overfitting the product? Show it what you're testing against.
I actually think what you're suggesting is a great idea, and I should have done it. To actually say, let me front load even the instructions, right? Like I have a test script. This is how you know it is working. Make sure it is working on every action that you take, right? Like that is a great idea.
Hi, I was wondering if you could show us your agents.
Yeah. It's all public on the repo as well. So if you'd like to take a look at it, it's up there too. My agents.md is usually templated from a template repo, and then I let it evolve over time as it becomes a little bit more bespoke and specific to each project. So this is what's inside there. There is in Cursor the ability to bootstrap. Is it Cursor or Claude? Claude does have this. Like you can slash init Claude code. GitHub Copilot also has generate instructions. They will generate in their proprietary, Copilot instructions.md or Claude.md. But for us, it's just easy to take it and cut and paste it into agents.md and move it over.
Great. I'm curious about including the routers, so you don't need to send a model. You implement something like ChatGPT has, where you send it and it will decide which model you need.
Oh, that's meta.
How would you
Ooh.
first assumption?
Yeah, I think I'd have to deploy an LLM inside there on that router that its single and sole task is to return, based on the complexity of the request, return a structured output that dictates exactly which endpoint to hit and dictates which model to call. And then the model to endpoint mapping is deterministic. So I only have to worry about that middle piece. Yeah.
Heuristics or machine learning model?
I would start, like, for expedience, start with a LLM.
Just to look at keyword.
That can work.
Yeah, so.
That could work too. Yeah. Yep, that works too. All right, one more.
Time for one more question, but also as an answer, if you went to South Korea, I really need to learn about how to handle this data visualization thing. Turns out the next time here, 11, 12, 45, that's from 1:30, is using Earth and Echo tools for data science.
Amazing. Yes. And that's Mike's talk.
I'm a beginner to AI assisted coding, and I've been using VS Code with Copilot so far, and I'm really liking what it's in Cursor. So what would you say is like the main advantages using Cursor over VS Code?
Cursor has usually been a few months ahead of VS Code with respect to the user experience. But when it comes to model choice, routing, etc., Cursor's current only proprietary thing that I know of is Composer 1, right? That's the only thing that they've got. So they're really, they're innovating on other aspects, but they're mostly UX, if I'm, no, Sebastian?
Composer 1 is the only one that's public, but they have a lot of proprietary models under the
Ah.
When you actually run the thing that generates the code is the model you select, but the thing that applies the code is the proprietary model that you select.
Oh, okay, cool.
Like that.
Cool. Right. Okay, cool. So from a user perspective, I would rate Cursor, like GitHub Copilot will usually catch up to what Cursor is doing over the course of a quarter to half a year. So they're lagging behind. They have to serve enterprise. So that's, I think, they put a lot of their mental attention onto like enterprise features like cost monitoring, observability on like what's going on, like deploying stuff and, integration with the rest of the GitHub ecosystem, more so than Cursor has focused on like good user experience. Like, for example, GitHub Copilot doesn't allow you to queue messages, whereas Cursor does. So that's awesome because I can just brain dump as I'm thinking and AI will just keep going, right? But I can't do that with GitHub Copilot, which is what I use at work. Yeah. Yeah.
How do you think Cursor compares to Climb?
To which?
Climb.
Climb. I haven't used it before, actually.
It's an extension in VS Code
Ah.
to do agentic stuff with a your model kind of thing.
Oh, okay.
It's kind of couple inference from
Yeah.
source Cursor models out together.
Yeah. Okay. I see. I'm not educated enough on Climb specifically, but I do know if you have decoupling of like if you can do your bring your own model thing, then you will have usually from the user experience perspective, what you have a lot more choice for model selection, which also means you have a lot more experimentation to do to get used to it, right? And when people ask me like what model should I use Claude, Sonnet 4.5, Opus, should I use like Composer? I once heard literally at work a manager telling me, dude, GPT-4, I think it's 4.0 or something, GPT-4.0 sucks. I really hate it. And then like his direct report came to me and he was like, you should use Claude. And his direct report came to me and he was like, dude, Claude sucks. You should use GPT-4. And I'm like, you guys just got used to your models. That's what happened, right? Like they got used to what they were working with and just found it hard to adapt. And the only way out from that situation is to constantly switch up the models. But that also means you're putting more mental energy into adapting to the model and not really solving your problem. So it's kind of like a bit of a trade-off here. It's a time-energy trade-off, in my opinion. So. Yeah, that's maybe the broader, more meta level point.
This was a great talk. I coded, agent assistant coded. Do you have a good recommendation of like blog posts to get started?
To get started.
Or two recommendations,
Okay. I feel nerd sniped for like writing now. Let me think. I mean, part of the motivation for why I wanted to do this talk is because like there weren't many even getting started, or like, you know, how do you be productive kind of things. It's very much folk knowledge, and the kind of knowledge that you can only learn by seeing other people doing it or that sort of thing. But I think I do hear of people on Twitter and Blue Sky going like, hey, can we have some more like experienced people just live streaming themselves working? Of which this is maybe one instance of it. And I think that would be the kind of resource, you know, more broadly speaking, that people would need to make that happen. Yeah, I would love it if open source maintainers, you know, just turned on a YouTube live stream every time they started going to hack on their open source projects, and that would already share a lot of knowledge.
I can speak to your point on getting started, which is there are a bazillion videos online if you search the term that will tell you, but watching a video like that maybe teaches you the principle, but doesn't do it. So I think the easiest way to get started is to download Cursor or
Yes.
then code your own personal blog. You don't have to publish the thing, but a blog is something super simple. It has a front end, it has maybe even a back end, depending on how sophisticated it wants to be. And it will just allow you to go through all the steps necessary in an environment that's very simple and familiar.
Yes.
And wherever it fails, you likely have the skills to do it manually, so you can always back up. Yeah, we'll start with that.
Mm-hmm.
If you experience it, from there, just go with whatever.
Yeah, 100% agree. Nothing beats doing.
Start with doing it that way.
Or go hang out with me and like practically in Boston Python. There's lots of ways to
Yes.
people. Although I'm looking forward to our Twitch account where there's
Just a quick comment. So
Yeah.
you have your test cases written before
Yes.
starting this, but if you describe it in natural language, that's pretty much like code.
That-
You don't care about.
That's right. If I don't care about how it was implemented, then that is the definition of vibe coding.
Yeah.
Yes.
So basically, my recommendation is just do whatever Eric just did. Try to describe it.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. Yeah, exactly.
That's a quick note. We have 2 minutes in the lunch. This is not lunch talk. Do you think of as Eric sexy?
Okay.
Yeah, so maybe a quick question, just trying to understand your whole workflow
Yeah.
of building this repo.
Yeah.
Like you develop the docs first.
Yes, that's right.
And then like develop the test-driven.
Yes.
Did you use this kind of planning and like for the agent help?
Yes.
Assistant?
Yes.
way of doing that?
Yes, totally. There's a lot about the web that I don't understand. And so AI assisted coding. So what I do understand is like, I understand that there's a host, a port, and some endpoints, but how transport happens, how the headers look like, those are still quite an opaque box to me right now. So when it comes to figuring out so when I'm doing little mini projects like these, part of it is to actually get me more familiar with the web, right? And web technologies and how transport and headers and authorization, et cetera, all work. And a lot of that comes through osmosis and looking at the code and trying myself to piece together, oh, this is what an authorization header looks like. I have header and blah, blah, blah. And I may not necessarily remember the syntax, but I'll have a visual snapshot that this is the dictionary that needs to be passed in as part of the headers. And so the next time I look at AI-generated code, I can roughly guess, oh yeah, authorization header equals whatever, and whatever, you know, what other headers, key values, pairs inside there, those become a lot easier to understand. So a lot of this also was driven by need. SciPy, I needed to teach a tutorial, so I did that. I stood it up, like, I actually rewrote this repo three times. This is the 4th attempt at rewriting the entire thing. And it was driven by need. And so when I first created it, the requirements were actually quite different. But it worked for SciPy, and then I just evolved it over time. And I think that maybe is a broader point as well. Now the cost of rewrites with AI assistance has gone down so dramatically. You should not be afraid to do a complete rewrite of anything. In the past, I would be quite afraid to like take what this was doing and then like make changes on a branch and whatever, because it's like I put in 50 hours making this one thing and it finally works on modal. I'm not breaking it, right? But if you do adopt, software tests, branch isolation, Git workflow, etc., you have ways of safely breaking things. So the entire software development workflow actually helps you safely break things so that you can fix it. And then AI assistance helps you quickly rewrite. And if you have your test harness ready, you have quick feedback loops. So then it makes it really fast to know whether you're doing the right thing or not. Yeah, so that's kind of how it how it went.
There's a really last
Okay, last question.
Really quick one. So, like at work, where you're not live coding, do you generally let the LLM run commands, or do you try to revolve before you do that?
That is a great question. I loved it. I love that question. So benign commands like cd, ls, git status, anything that cannot destroy or modify the state of the file system, auto-approved. Anything that involves rm, never approved. Things like git commit, they live in the gray zone because they will modify the state of your history. I've leaned towards not auto-approving. The only situation where, git add, maybe, right? Also, it's kind of, it is a mutation on the state of the repo, but it doesn't do file mutation, if you get what I mean. So it's like, maybe you could consider automating that, like just auto-approving that. In my case, because I have GACP as a shell alias, I've already effectively just auto-approved it for myself, git add, right? So I personally have no issues auto-approving git add. So you kind of need to look at like, more principled answer is, does it mutate files in a way that could be, you could miss an issue? And if the answer is yes, then don't auto-approve. Yeah.
Sorry, just very quick follow-up. How do you give it like? Can you give it like a regex that it matches like it's a CD or something, or how do you actually specify that?
VS Code has its facilities for specifying exactly which commands you are going to allow. And I don't have it off the top of my head, but if you read the docs, search the docs for it, you will find it. And there's a GUI for it, yes, exactly.
I would love to see this conversation continue when Eric is in line getting. It's, please, thank you so much.
All right, thank you very much.
If you would like to continue the conversation, John will be back here in 52 minutes.
Thank you.
Best presentation.
Oh, okay, thanks a lot. Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
This with is out of the park.
All right. Thanks, Adam.
Great talk.
Thank you. Thanks a lot.
You have experience teaching,
Yeah.
doing this demo. It's never easy.
Yeah, that's right. Oh, yes, there you go. Thank you very much.
Put yourself in such a I knew you were gonna like wing the like cursor coding piece, but oh, it's so fun.
Yeah.
That would be wonderful. Literally on a Twitch stream.
On a Twitch stream? Yes, yeah.
You should have streamed it to Twitch during the talk. I don't know how many game reviews here, but like there should be. We would learn better.
Possibly, yeah. Actually, you just reminded me. I did live stream to YouTube